So Caitlin Clark has been hit hard a few times in the last week. Without question, cheap shots. Things that should have been, without question, one of them being a common foul is crazy. And the Diamond of Shields, when if that was given as flagrant 2, it wouldn't have been surprising. Don't really hate the flagrant 2 call. The Alyssa Thomas one was dangerous. But now we are back to the talk of the enforcer. And if you guys agree that this talk is wild, subscribe. We're trying to, I mean, we've more than surpassed your sub goal. If you guys are interested, subscribe. It'd be unbelievable. Thank you. But it is it's Liz Cambage time again. It's time to talk about Liz Cambage. Like, this is, like, there's no way. Like, this is the only time we ever talk about Liz Cambage is when people want an enforcer for Caitlin Clark. Like, people are like, oh, Liz Cambage will defend Caitlin Clark. Man, Liz Cambage will look for any excuse to attack the opponent. Liz Cambage is playing in China on a massive contract. She's making millions playing in China. And she's literally, like, guarding people a foot smaller than her. And she's just swinging at them. She's just swinging at them off the ball. It is mad. Like, you can't... I'm somebody that was an extremely casual WNBA fan before this. Like, I watched 10 games a year max. I watched between 5 and 10 games a year. Outside, like, the 2013 season when I just watched basically all of it because I have nothing to do that summer. I watched before this, I'd watch between 5 and 10 games a year. Watch the finals most years. But, like... Liz Cambage is somebody who I've never seen someone in a sport in basketball have literal GOAT potential. She holds the single game scoring record tied with AJ Wilson of 53. She was a mobile 6'8" with touch, the strongest player in the league, and could shoot the ball a little bit. She was so good that people questioned whether or not she should have been taken over Maya Moore. That's how good she was. But she's crazy. Like, she was kicked off multiple teams. Like, you know it's bad when she played on a team. And by the way, the last team she played on, the Sparks, Kennedy Carter was on her team. Like, you know it's bad when you get into a feud with Kennedy Carter, and Kennedy Carter is who the public are like, nah, we're on Kennedy's side. Like, Liz Cambage cannot come to the Fever. Like, she would be a good enforcer for Caitlin Clark because any chance she gets to start a brawl, she'd probably do it. Like, she literally got into a fight with the Nigerian national team you can look it up, but she racially abused the Nigerian national team. And again, this is all alleged, but there were 24 players on both squads. 23 of them said one thing. Liz Cambage said, I didn't say that. It was bad enough that she got, like, the footage came out. Whatever she said, someone went and swung at her from the other team. And her teammates did not defend her. Got kicked off the Australia team and then said, I want to go play for Nigeria. And, like, someone in Nigeria, I think the Nigeria captain was like, you're not playing for us. But there's just no way. Like, I see it in comments being like, she could be the perfect enforcer for Caitlin Clark. It's like, man, she's more likely, for people saying she's the perfect enforcer, but she's more likely to start a fight with Caitlin Clark herself at practice than she is to defend Caitlin Clark from a fight in the WNBA. Like, someone that's just going to go around, like, a cheap shot artist is not an enforcer. I'll stand by that. Somebody who initiates this stuff is not an enforcer. That's why I don't think this modern version of Draymond Green is an enforcer. I do think in the past, maybe, you could argue that. I don't think Draymond Green's an enforcer. I think he's a cheap shot artist. But when we look at Charles Oakley from those Bulls teams, someone goes to Michael Jordan and does something to Jordan. No, Charles Oakley's getting the back. That's what an enforcer is. Not someone who just loves to hit people. And it's a pity because, again, Liz Cambage is one of the, I'm trying to think, most talented ever. I think he can go top 1. I think if we talk about peak ability and, like, one game, every player at their very best if we're going bigs, you could argue she's top 1. She had GOAT potential, but threw it all away. Obviously, she's older now. She's not going to even come back to the W. She spent her whole career basically trying to get to Los Angeles. When she got there, got kicked off the team after I don't know how many games. It was such a bad decision that they basically fired the coach, and a big reason for it was bringing her in. Like, if people want her to go to Fever to protect Caitlin Clark, it is going to be, like, as a Fever fan, we're like, okay, yeah, good. The team chemistry's perfect. The chemistry's perfect on this team. Don't mess anything up. And then we look at some other teams, how bad the chemistry seems to be. Like, putting in Liz Cambage into a team, any team, would instantly cause it to implode. The only situation where I think putting Liz Cambage into a team might help is maybe dropping her into Chicago, helping her learn, or helping Cardoso learn from her as far as the game is concerned. And it's a team that's already imploding anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they implode even more. Like, otherwise, I wouldn't go near her. I wouldn't go near Liz Cambage. I don't care how good at basketball she is. I don't care if when Caitlin Clark gets laid out by Diamond Shields or by Alyssa Thomas, she'll come in and protect her. I'd rather what's happening with the team. I'd rather the team doing everything they can to make sure Caitlin Clark is on the damn floor, making sure that she's not getting technical fouls, making sure that they just beat the other teams. Because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. There are not enough cheap shot artists in this league to need an enforcer. There are not. There's not enough hard hits to need an enforcer. It just happens that you played Alyssa Thomas, who's one of the dirtiest players in the league, and then the Sky, who I just not a fan of this team. And I don't know if it's the coach, I don't know if it's from the owner, I don't know if it's the players, but I think it is from the higher ups because I like Diamond Shields as a player. I really like Onion Ware as a player. I think I hate Rachel Banham as a player. I just think she sucks. I really, really like Lindsay Allen. I really like Lindsay Allen as a player. The way she stepped up. And obviously the two rookies are great. But it's just, we've seen one too many times. We've seen one too many cheap shots from this team that you're like, I just don't. I'm not a fan of them. I hate this. I'm not a fan of the Sun for the same reason. But like, they're the only teams maybe you need an enforcer against. They don't play either of them again. Maybe if you're playing the Sun in a playoff series, you might want someone with a bit of grit. But like, no one's going to risk getting tossed out of that game. Alyssa Thomas isn't going to risk getting tossed out of the series. There's not going to be a cheap shot in the playoffs, especially when everyone's watching. That's not happening. So, yeah, we can just stop the Liz Cambage talk because she is... If everything that's going well with the Fever right now, dropping Liz Cambage into the Fever would implode the entire team from the inside. There is no way in hell that I want Liz Cambage to the Fever. And again, look, some of the stories about her, it could, like, it's all just hearsay at the same time. It's all just alleged. But still, like, it's one of those situations where so many people have bad things to say about her that there has to be some sort of toxicity there. And that's the last thing the Fever want. Even if it means getting an enforcer, Liz Cambage is the last player the Fever need.